So thank you so much for coming on and being willing to do this and taking time to come on the pod.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, ma'am, for sure. People who would come across your content will generally see you as either the AI creator who hit 1 million plus followers in a year or who sold an AI startup for 10 million plus. But who is Sabrina off camera and what's your mission?
Yeah, it's really interesting you mentioned that. I've been thinking about this because a lot of people label me as a creator and influencer. And on one hand, it's flattering. It's like cool, but I personally don't think of myself in that way. Number one, because I only make content 1 day a week. So, like most of my time, the majority of my time, I'm very much in entrepreneur mindset mode, building my app and like trying to figure out how to scale it, how to fix bugs, what features should I build, how do I make customers happier, what are customers trying to do. And so like I think of myself just as an entrepreneur now, I guess a serial entrepreneur since this is my second startup. And when it comes to content creation, I call myself just a teacher. Like I just like to educate people and help people get to that light bulb moment. Like that is what's really exciting for me. People being able to like use AI, get that light bulb moment and see the possibilities and imagine new possibilities for their own life. Like so many people reach out to me saying like, after I watched your content, I wasn't sure what to do, but 3 or 6 months later, I started vibe coding this, or I started consulting, or I started building AI automations. And like I don't know, that's it for me. That's what keeps me going. So in that regard, I really prefer like the term teacher rather than like
Hmm.
creator or influencer. So
Did you always have that drive for entrepreneurship and to start businesses? Was that something that early on you found out you loved?
I wasn't exposed to it honestly earlier on. I really wish I was. I'm jealous now of kids who were exposed to that. But I grew up in the Northeast, and so like my track for a long time was go to a good college, get good grades, go into law, Wall Street, or something similar that is like or medicine, right? That's a
Hmm.
guaranteed path. Like that's what I was exposed to growing up. But then I went out to California for college at Berkeley, and I met a lot of entrepreneurs naturally on campus. Like in the UC Berkeley program, in the computer science program, there are a handful of professors who had previously started companies. And that was
Hmm.
my first foray into like this world of entrepreneurship I knew nothing about and had never imagined something like that for myself. But once I started getting into it, and my segue in was hackathons actually. So
Mm,
in
nice.
college, yeah, so at the time I was in college, hackathons were brand new. So I attended some of the first hackathons ever. And like I
Oh, that's
remember
cool.
people would fly out from other parts of the country, from other colleges, just to attend the hackathons in San Francisco. And then you'd have judges who are like serial entrepreneurs, like sometimes really big names or investors. And so I mean, once I fell into that world, it was very addictive. The idea that you could just like build something for yourself and honestly have an epic adventure in the meantime was really addictive. So
What kind of kicked you in the direction of starting your own AI startup? Just being around fellow people that did it?
so I started my first AI startup right out of Berkeley. So
Hmm.
my husband was my co-founder. He was a CTO, was a CEO, and we had both taken AI classes at Berkeley. So my first AI class actually was in 2011. And
Damn.
at the time we graduated, 2013, the buzzword was big data, and then the
Hmm.
buzzword kind of became machine learning, and then the buzzword became deep learning. But like since we were like surrounded by people who were also learning AI and machine learning at the time, it kind of felt like a very natural way to start a company. Like we are like, oh, this is a really exciting space. We're learning about it here. There's a lot of excitement around big data and then eventually machine learning in Silicon Valley. And so it didn't feel like a risk. It sounds really crazy to say that in retrospect, but it didn't feel risky at the time that we were going into
Hmm.
it.
What was that journey like as a startup founder, a newly startup founder out of college? What was that process like day to day of old Sabrina in the startup life?
It was pretty hard and terrible. Yeah, like I had no idea what I was doing all of the time. And then our product, we would like sell it to companies. So it was an
Hmm.
enterprise sales process, which like for me, I'm very introverted. So it was like not a good match for my personality and strengths. Marketing and like creating content is a much better match for like the things I actually enjoy doing. But it was brutal, but at the same time, like I would never take it back for anything. Like we learned a ton of lessons. We just did so many things out of order. I'll say that. So for example, like I was really concerned about raising money. Like that was like the resume item. Like raise money, who you raise from, how much you raise. And like now doing my second startup, it's just an option. Like raising money, like I could go raise money now. Like I have really incredible metrics for my current startup. It's like but I don't have to, because for my current one, I put the customer first. In fact, I put myself first as the first customer of my own product, and I think that changed everything. Because for our first startup, we were selling to a user that wasn't us, and so it was like hard to envision the problems that they actually had, the pain points, and like build the correct solution. But yeah, it was brutal, and we just had no idea what we were doing. But at the same time, I wouldn't take it back for anything. So
Was the did the payoff of 10 million plus live up to your expectations throughout all of that work? And what was it like just getting a check and you're done, you've sold your company? What does that build up to that like?
it feels unreal, number one, but then it feels like a relief. Just for context, like my first company was called Curious, and we built real time speech and natural language for sales and support calls. So this is in 2015, 2014. Our technology could join a meeting like this, figure out what people are saying through real time transcription, and then figure out things like objections,
Mm.
frustrations, like topics you're talking about, sentiment analysis, all in real time. And like from a technology point of view, it was just brand new. There's no education in the market around this. It was just like really hard to build properly, make it work in production. And also, our target customer was a call center because they
Mm.
already had a culture of recording every single phone interaction and like trying to improve the ROI, like help the customer fix their situation as quickly as possible and kind of get them on the phone, make sure they're happy. And like to be honest, like I didn't love that space. I didn't want to spend another 10, 20 years of my life like building necessarily for that particular space or that particular problem. And so I was really relieved to sell the company, and we found like a really great partner. So the company that acquired us, they do over $1 billion in revenue. They are one of the earliest players in the what's called robotic process automation, and enterprise is what you would call workflow automation with N8N and Make.com. And so, yeah, they have a low code platform, workflow builder, and they pioneered it in, I think, the 80s.
Wow.
And so, yeah, and like the people we worked with, which were tremendous. Like I loved my team there. We integrated so I don't know if listeners know, but in many cases, like in an acquisition, sometimes a company gets acquired, they get shut down. It's not a good culture fit.
Yeah.
Startup versus enterprise kind of culture clash is pretty typical, but we had none of that. Like we were so welcomed in. Our product's fully integrated with their portfolio. It's called Pega Voice AI. It's still running today. It's still selling today. Thousands of agents, as far as I know from the latest update, are actively using it today, which is crazy. And so like I want to say relief, but it was also like really awesome to be acquired by a company that like I think they really appreciated our talents on the engineering side, and they really welcomed us into the company, and there was no sort of like culture clash or anything like that. So
That's so cool. What afterwards? There's probably some gap of you just like you said being relieved of not having to work, but what made you have such an interest in content creation to now go out there and pursue this? Well, yeah, pursue this kind of company with Bloatato that comes on a
yeah.
little later on. But what piqued your interest in content creation?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a sequence of events, and it only makes sense when I look back at it. At the time going through this, my like content creation was not a thing I was trying to pursue. So I stayed at the company that acquired us for just under 2 years because, again, we were making sure our product was integrated into their product
Mm-hmm.
portfolio and selling. But towards the end of that, I forget the circumstances, but I was invited to speak at a virtual women in tech conference, and my topic was AI.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're familiar, this is like before Midjourney became a household name, but there were things like Night Cafe,
Mm.
where you could make similar Midjourney type of AI
Yeah.
art. And I showed people that. I talked about some other things in AI, and people were like blown away by my presentation. And I really enjoyed the process. So like that was like event number one. I was like, oh, that was interesting. That was really cool. like really like just showing people stuff I know, stuff I'm interested in. I didn't realize people didn't know about this already. I
Mm,
guess like I take so much of that knowledge for granted because I lived in Silicon Valley, which is kind of like the epicenter of the tech bubble, the AI bubble. So everybody knows all the latest stuff. But like as soon as you step out of that, like there's a massive gap. So that was event number one. And then the kind of event number two is my husband and I, we bought a house in Salt Lake just because we love being near the mountains. And then when we had family over, they were asking about the canvas art hanging up on our walls. And we're like, oh, yeah, we made that with Midjourney. And then we printed it out at Costco. And they were like, what? Like, understand what you just said. And so like I sat down with them and just like showed them, oh yeah, just type here and then like you'll see something in a couple minutes. And they were just like blown away. And so
yeah.
that was kind of like a second experience, like, huh, everybody knew this already. Like,
Yeah.
so weird. And then I think the third experience, like just actually going on social media outside of Twitter. Like Twitter is very sophisticated for tech. Like it really has awesome information and signal
Yeah.
there. But if you step outside Twitter, you go to like TikTok, you go to Instagram, like the information about AI is so bad. This was when I started. This was like there weren't even many AI influencers at the time. The two that personally inspired me were like Brand Nat and Kyle. So I just like followed all of their stuff all the time. But like that was it. Like outside of those two high quality ones, there was like nothing. And so it just I think those pieces were coming together. Like there is a really interesting opportunity here, and I enjoyed the process of just like showing people stuff I already know. So I started actually just doing one post a day on LinkedIn, just because like that was the social platform I was familiar with. I had never used TikTok or Instagram before started creating content. But yeah, that it just kind of snowballed from there. So
What was your beginning process like when you first started, and how has that changed over this year that you've been doing it?
yeah, so in the beginning, I think I took I think I watched a YouTube video for LinkedIn strategy in particular, and it was like find an existing viral LinkedIn post and then put your thoughts into it. So my very first like viral piece or semi-viral piece of content was a LinkedIn post about the old way of building AI startups, which is what I went through. Like I raised a
Mm.
couple $1 billion. I hired a team of PhD machine learning scientists and built out like a ton of really neat technology. The new way is like plugging into ChatGPT, and then your moat is like kind of the workflows and data and proprietary information you have around the ChatGPT wrapper, if you will. But that went like kind of viral because it was kind of controversial because like on LinkedIn at the time, a lot of technical folks were in my network. So they were like, you're saying data scientists aren't necessary anymore. You're saying like machine learning, right? Because like, but that was my first taste of virality.
Oh,
And this was probably 2 months into my journey as a content creator. You also asked like how has my approach evolved? Today, like I very rarely look at other people's contents for inspiration. Just I think in the beginning it's very normal to do that because you're
right.
like what do I post about? Like I have
Yeah.
no idea. But like over time, when you develop your own style and you get a really strong sense of this is what you like, this is what you stand for, this is what's important to you, and this is all the other stuff you don't want to do. Like I don't do AI news that much. Like you've actually watched my TikTok. If I do AI news, I'm usually like 3 weeks behind the actual
Yeah.
date. So, but like that's just an example of like in the beginning I do some of that stuff, but now I just don't like trying to be first for AI news and stuff. And so, yeah, my strategy's evolved, but a lot of it is just figuring out what I like to do and what I don't like to do. So.
Mm. What have been some of the automations and implementations of AI that you've been able to utilize to grow your content faster than, say, others?
Yeah, I think number one is just my repurposing automation. Like it sounds so dumb, but just taking my TikTok whenever I post it and it cross posts it to other platforms. Like that was the V1 that ran
Mm.
for a very long time and it worked really well. And now there's more advanced things like it might rewrite the caption. One thing I want to experiment with in the new year is I've noticed on Substack and Threads, for example, posts that are text or like a wall of text and an image
Mm.
tend to do well. Like it almost looks like a chapter in a book.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about like, okay, transcribe the TikTok, put it into one of those like long text templates, and then
interesting.
post that on Substack and Threads. So there's all kind of neat things you could do. But for any creator, I think the lowest hanging fruit is just repurposing or cross posting your content, because it literally multiplies your output without any increase in input.
Right.
Most people are surprised. Like on Instagram, for example, I never log in. I don't know how to use it, but just through cross postings from TikTok, I've grown from 0 to 450,000 on Instagram. Threads as well. I literally don't open it. Every time I try to open it, redirects me to Instagram, so I just give up.
Yeah.
But I think I've grown from like 0. I don't know what I'm at. I don't know. I don't use Threads, but I've grown there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of people I think overcomplicate it with the automations, but I encourage people to just start with the simplest possible thing. Usually for a creator, that's just very simply cross-posting your existing content to multiple platforms.
I've seen your process throughout the week of creating content. It's kind of gone viral because you say film one day a week. I think it's Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How do you maintain such consistency and volume by only filming
Yeah.
like one day a week?
I think this is where I am pretty different from most creators based on like YouTube and advice that I've seen put out there. I think most creators probably emphasize the creation process, and
Mm.
I'm the complete opposite. I try to maximize the time I spend building, learning, and playing with AI tools, and then minimize the time I spend creating content. So just as an example, like I'll build stuff all week for my startup, and then that will inspire a video for Saturday, so that by the time I sit down on Saturday, I already know what to do, and I don't
Mm.
have heavy editing or polish, right, for most of my videos. It's only lately my husband's been building out this like really cool live streaming studio that looks really fancy. But for most of my videos, it's just very raw. That was a like a constraint I set for myself early on. Like my very first 5 or 10 TikTok videos, each one took me 3 hours to film, and they all
Mm.
flopped. And so I was just like depressed and burnt out.
Yeah.
After the first few, I was like, okay, I'm gonna prove to myself I'm not just lazy. Like I'm just gonna keep doing this, keep pushing through. But after like 10 times each video takes you like 3 to 4 hours and nobody watches it,
Yeah.
dude, it's like, I mean, that's a recipe for burnout. So like at that moment, I was like, I need to completely reverse this model and like minimize the time making and editing and polishing content, and just maximize the time I spend doing stuff so that I get lots of ideas naturally.
And it's definitely worked because I know personally for me starting out, like you said, I would spend like 2 hours, 3 hours just ideation, thinking about what
Oh
to
yeah,
film. Then by the time I
scripting.
get to filming, I mean, and then I post it, it gets like 1,000 views. But then let's just say I get home from
Hey,
church, like
that's
my
good.
most viral video. I sit down, I film it in like 30 seconds and it does 1.9 million. So like
Yeah.
there's something that definitely is there about authenticity and just on TikTok for sure. Like you don't need to be
Yeah.
spending so much time.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm surprised it's honestly worked well on other platforms. Like if you look at my Instagram compared to most other Instagrams, my videos are like blurry, low resolution, and yet, people want the information, like the value that's in the video. And so, I don't necessarily tell people you have to copy my style. If you're building a luxury brand, right? Like you probably want a different aesthetic,
Mm.
but my larger thing I want to convey is if you are an expert and you have a lot of domain expertise, there are millions of people you could potentially help just
Right.
by talking to a camera. And a lot of people fear the other stuff like filming and editing and like how tedious that is, and they don't want to spend 3 hours doing it. And like my main message is you don't have to. You can just be the educator that you are, and then spend 10 minutes filming, and then boom, and like that truly can work. So
Right. You already have all the knowledge and expertise that these people need. You don't have to fluff it up any more than it already is. Just get in front of a camera and film for sure. Now, when did Bloatato come into this equation? When did you start thinking about building another SaaS, and what was that process like?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people like assume I built an audience first so that I could build a startup, and it's just not true. Like I really
No.
didn't want to do another company. My first company, I don't know if you know this, but I was just super burnt out from my first
Mm,
company. Like physically, I was like way overweight, mentally like not in a good state. It took like I would say 1 to 2 years just to like heal from that burnout, and so I really didn't want to do another company. But this was probably 4, maybe 5 months into my content creator journey, and I was paying for 8 different tools for content creation. I was setting up these automations to help with repurposing and help with ideation. I deployed them on YouTube as tutorials, and like people would ask me, "Hey, how can I do that?" But I don't want to do the automation stuff. I just want like a really simple thing where I can point and click.
mm,
I think after the fourth time somebody asked me that, I was like, huh, maybe I should like build something in this space. Like I know the problem, then I won't have to pay for 8 different content creation
yeah.
tools anymore. And so that was like just the beginning of the idea, I think in August last year. And then I made a TikTok video to like ask people what they think or validate the idea. And that got like pretty decent engagement, like several hundred people replied. I DM'd the people who seemed to have like the most pain and talked to them about it. And I was like, okay, like I think there's a market here. And then honestly, just as an experiment, I vibe coded it with Cursor AI. So this was like early September
Mm,
last year. And my thought process was like, even if I completely drop this project, at least I filmed myself taking a SaaS app from literally zero to having paying
right.
customers, and it's available for everybody to follow this tutorial. So like that was my worst case scenario. I was like, okay, well, cool. I created education content in the worst case. I really didn't expect it to go the way it's been going. It's been going amazing to the point where it's like most of what I care about now.
It's awesome. Nah, I use it all the time. I've made a couple videos about it. I know you've seen a couple you've reposted,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love Bloatato. It's absolutely amazing. What
Oh,
was
cool.
that? Like, was that a shocker to see how fast you could get feedback coming out of Silicon Valley to now on TikTok? How fast you
Yeah.
could validate an idea?
It's completely changed my perspective and playbook. So I love Silicon Valley, and like a lot of the Y Combinator, Andreessen's school of advice is amazing when it comes to building product. When it comes to go to marketing and distribution, a lot of the advice there is not, in my opinion, not that great. I literally in ChatGPT I have a project, and it's literally like you are Y Combinator for product advice. You are Hormozy for marketing advice. And like these are my two coaches every single day. And so honestly, stepping out of Silicon Valley gave me a completely different perspective on distribution and social media. Like I did not like it's like an easy mode. It's like a cheat. Like if you like if I truly believed this was possible 10 years ago, I would have done it, but I really didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And Silicon Valley for a long time kind of looked down on influencers and creators. Like it's like not as cool as doing a tech startup and raising venture capital, you know what I mean? And like the
Yeah.
hierarchy of really cool things in Silicon Valley. And so I just never took it seriously. But yeah, now that I've taken this route and I'm seeing other creators also launch their own products and stuff, it's really incredible. Like the leverage and distribution you have to get the feedback you need to build the right product. I think that's where people get confused. Like product is still incredibly important. Otherwise, you're going to be pushing and pushing and pushing all the time. Like as a creator, I can scale a product from zero to let's say like 50K just based on my audience. But beyond that, like you need to have a product that like is actually useful that people want to keep paying for. But the way to get there is you get a lot of that feedback as quickly as possible so you can fix the product and like actually build the correct thing. And so that's my advice, especially for anyone technical listening to this. You don't have to be the creator, by the way. You can partner with creators. I'm
Yeah.
seeing a lot of creators just partner with tech people, right? Because they don't want to do the crazy product building stuff.
Have a marketer and then also have the engineer slash
A dream
developer on the.
team.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Are there any other things that kind of shocked you or stood out when you became a creator that you could now implement? Like I said, the feedback loop. Is there any others?
You mean specifically related to building startups?
Yeah.
Um, the feedback loop's really important. I think as an influencer as well, like there's an incredible opportunity early on to build a little community around your product. So not just for feedback, but like people helping each other in the community, like linking up with like affiliate partners and like, for example, school communities that do AI automations. Because you're an influencer and people know you in the space, it's just so much easier to open those doors and have those conversations. And so that's been a huge one as well. So in addition to really fast iteration cycles from customer feedback, you're building this like little community around your product. And it's not just users, it's like potential partners, potential affiliates, advocates. And so and because you're an influencer, like it's natural to you to build a community around it. Like you don't even think about it, but that's what you're doing. For example, I do office hours every single week for Bloatato users. And like last week, we probably had 70 people. And it's like, it's just a little community. There's a core group of people there who are very regular and like they're super awesome. They help me out and stuff. And so yeah, that's another advantage as well. Like you just naturally take your community building skills and then like adapt that to building the community around the product itself.
That's awesome. I also saw you started a community for women building in AI. Yeah. How has that been, and how has that been coming along, and why is that so
Yeah.
important to you?
Yeah, that's been awesome. And I have gotten pushback on it, honestly, because like a lot of guys are like, hey, well, why don't you make one, for guys too? And I'm like, that's a great idea. I'm totally not closed off to that. But the reason for me why I wanted to make a women one is because I just wanted to make more friends who are women stuff. Like it gets lonely, to be completely honest with you. And so like it was kind of like I want to meet more women who are also building things in AI, whether it's products or automations or services. And it's been going really well. So we have over 1,000 women builders, and the screening process is somewhat strict. Like we really do want to keep it a pretty high quality community, but it's been
Mm.
incredible. Like women helping women out. We have starting January, we have over 20 workshops slash master classes per month.
Wow.
And like it's all a crowdsourced collective effort. It's not like me doing 20,
Yeah.
like I'll do one per month, but then like so many other women leaders have stepped up to host those other master classes and share what they know. And so that's been like just incredibly gratifying to watch that come together. And I really would love to have a community that's open for everyone. I think the challenge is just spam. Like, how does it not devolve into people trying to pitch their products all the time?
Yeah.
And that's just a really tough challenge if it's a free public community. So this one's free but private, and then we do screen people to make sure that they're actually building in AI.
Awesome. What would be some advice that you would give to parents or moms who are trying to teach their kids about AI, and how would you advise them in that way?
I literally just posted a video on this a few hours ago. So this is like the best exercise I've ever seen for, especially if you're a teacher trying to teach students, let's say in like middle school to high school,
Hmm.
about use of AI. And it's basically like ask ChatGPT to write an essay about a certain subject and then research why it's wrong. And so that is a really neat exercise because you really come to understand that like AI can often be wrong and shouldn't be used as a
Right.
primary source. And like basically, depending on how you prompt it, you can get it to say whatever you want. And so that's a really fun exercise for parents or also for teachers. So.
I kind of want to get back into Bloatato, your software company. What are you planning for Bloatato? Is there any new features coming? And can you just kind
Oh,
of break
yeah.
down what Bloatato is and what it does?
Yeah. So Bloatato is a content creation and scheduling tool. So you can create content in it, such as text posts. You can also create visuals, so carousels, slideshows, as well as videos. And then I really built it for myself to help me initially repurpose my own content, which is the use case I was talking about earlier. And it's definitely grown from that. So you don't have to use it solely for repurposing. You can also use it for creating fresh original content. And then in terms of what's coming, oh man, I have such big things. I've been in very much like product building mode, but the next big thing I want to launch is like the ability to create your own video and carousel templates.
Mm,
So imagine like Canva, but you can create your own templates and then you can just prompt to change all the content in the template, and you can do it through the API. So if you're an agency, you can create all these branded templates for your clients for videos, carousels, text posts, infographics, and then AI just populates it with your information, and then you can automate all of the scheduling out. So
that's
that's
awesome.
kind of the big thing that I'm working on. The template and video generation is definitely really cool, but it's a difficult problem, and so I've been working on it now for several months. But I in my opinion, I think it's the big opportunity. So just imagine an AI agent that's really good at making viral carousels and videos for you. So
That's awesome. And has the code base stayed the same as when you first built it on Cursor, or have you hired developers to help you?
oh
What's that
no.
been like?
So I haven't hired anyone, but I've definitely refactored slash thrown out most of the vibe coded code base. So I kind of use these two terms differently. Some people use them the same, but to me, vibe coding is like using AI to code 90% plus of all the
Mhm.
code. And then I use the term AI assisted coding to mean like I use Claude Code and it's my co-pilot and partner, but I'm the one largely driving the process and the decision making and the architecture. So now I don't do vibe coding on because the code base is massive, and like I don't want a situation where AI introduces a feature, but it breaks three other features. So you have to be
Right.
really careful with that. So my workflow today is very much AI assisted coding. I use Claude Code for that. But no, I haven't hired anyone yet. I probably should at some point.
What's the day to day of managing such a large SaaS as a solo founder?
Yeah, so the morning is basically building. Check for any. So I have an alert. Like if there are any critical bugs, like
Mhm.
YouTube went down, like that's pretty major. So I do that. But if there's nothing critical, it's like building new features in the morning or prototyping new flows, and then support early afternoon. And then if I have any energy left, I'll do a little bit of marketing, like after I go to the gym and stuff in the mid afternoon.
That's awesome. And I've seen with Bloatato, so many founders like to show their revenue and flex their revenue, like on
Yeah,
Twitter or something. Why has been not showing the revenue or users of Bloatato
yeah.
been so important to you?
Yeah, I just don't want more copycats. Like I'm trying to make my life easier, not harder. I also think like it is really cool to put yourself out there, but you are inviting copycats,
Hmm.
and I don't necessarily think it builds credibility with the correct audience. So like my audience for Blotato would be like small businesses trying to post on Instagram, or like creators trying to post on Instagram or Facebook. And like I mean, that's cool that your app, makes a bunch of revenue, but at the end of the day, it's like, how does that help me? Like, what's in it for me? And so I think those revenue screenshots are awesome if like the people you're impressing with that, which is usually other entrepreneurs, is your core audience. In my case, a lot of people who use Blotato are just like small business owners. They don't care for what your revenue is. They just want you to do the job. They just want you to create the content and schedule out the content, and that's all they care about. But yeah, mostly I'm just trying to make my life easier by not sharing my numbers. So
Now, something that interests me so much is your newsletter. I think your newsletter has over 118,000 followers, I want to say now. But how has having such a large newsletter helped you in your growth? How has that been
oh, yeah.
a contributing factor?
Yeah, so I just looked. I'm at 143 now,
Oh,
and basically I drive everybody to my newsletter because I just assume social platforms can screw you over at any
mm,
time. I've seen like even though I haven't been super involved in social media, I've kind of seen that discourse in public when Facebook implemented a bunch of changes with Facebook pages, and then they implement a bunch of changes with ads and groups. And so like just seeing that play out over years, it's like, whoa, you really. I even interviewed someone on my podcast who had two YouTube channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers shut down, and he could not recover them. He had to like build from scratch. So
dang.
like yeah, I mean you hear these stories. I've had two Twitter accounts suspended. I don't know why. Very early on, yeah, very early on YouTube, my YouTube was also suspended. I have no idea why. Like I was posting like long form AI education. There's nothing sketchy going on. I reached out to the YouTube team through Twitter, and thankfully they, recovered it. But it's like, like anything could happen. You could lose
Right.
whatever accounts that you have.
So it's
Um,
more of a backup safety hedge against your audiences
well,
on.
I consider it the main thing. Like I in the ideal world, if you followed me on Instagram or TikTok, you would instantly follow me on my long form. I also think I can deliver a lot more value there. Because if you're just scrolling TikTok, you're probably not going to sit down and watch a 20-minute video or read a whole newsletter. I can only give you like one tip or something. But in a newsletter or long form YouTube video, I can like teach you something and like take my time, like 20 minutes, and like show you different examples, show you different variations of the exercise. So you build a lot more credibility that way rather than through short form videos. And so in the way I think of my funnel is all short form content is just free advertising to get to my long
Mhm.
form newsletter.
And for short form, I know we touched on it a little bit, and you don't have to have crazy production, but what do you think are some other misconceptions about short form content? And what do you think the most important and contributing factors of a viral video are?
Mm, it's always the hook for the viral. How emotional is it? How negative is it? How controversial is it? It's sad, but like there is a reason why like those are the hooks people use. Like blank is dead, blank just killed a blank. Your jobs are disappear, like things that are, it's kind of the same as the news, like a lot of that fear
Yeah.
mongering, negative, highly emotional, highly controversial stuff is what tends to go super, super, super viral. And so I don't know. Yeah, I'm always torn about this, but it's like if I am going to use a hook like that or a money hook, money is another one. Like how to make
Yeah.
$100,000 in 3 days. you know, like who wouldn't click that? But yeah, it's a double-edged sword, and I try to be like careful with it. But I'll hear from people if they're like, that was like a little too clickbaity for me, you know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but for short form, for sure, it's that hook, that first 10 seconds.
But how has your network expanded from the massive reach and following you've been able to get? And who are some of the favorite people you've been able to meet and talk to?
Oh, I actually don't meet or talk to that many people because I don't take meetings. But it's been awesome, like collaborating with other Bloatato users and like school communities that are doing AI. And then my women's community, honestly, it's been like really awesome to meet so many other women builders. Ever since I moved out of Silicon Valley, it's just been really hard to find like other friends who build stuff. Like it's just not the culture here. And so that's been really awesome. I will say like what surprised me is that people are watching and you don't even know it. Like
Yeah.
obviously that's true, but like not crazy, but like crazy amazing successful could be watching you and you don't
Right.
even know it until they decide to reach out. So I've gotten DMs or emails from like C-level executives and multi-billion-dollar tech companies, and it's like, whoa. like
Yeah.
that's like unreal. um or
Yeah.
even like Tony Robbins, right, and Dean, like joining them on stage. Like it's like, what? If you told me a year and a half ago that I'd be like speaking at Tony Robbins conference about AI, I just wouldn't believe you. Like I just didn't even think that was in the realm of possibility. And so for me, the types of people reaching out to me is an indicator of quality. So if I'm not getting people like that, I know something is going wrong in terms of the
Mm,
quality of my content.
interesting.
Quantity is great. Like, AI helps a lot with quantity and like being consistent, but like quality is like, are these, incredible people
Right.
reaching out to you because of your content?
That's cool. What was that experience with Tony Robbins and Dan like? Can how was that?
Honestly, it opened my mind. It really like raised the standard for me. I mean, just imagine, I think on Friday, or I forgot which day I spoke, but there were over 100,000 people concurrent on a YouTube. And
Yeah.
then what you don't see on the YouTube are all the VIP Zoom rooms. So there's like, I don't even know how many of those, but there's like hundreds of people in each room who upgraded with that $1 donation. So just like imagine, I don't know, maybe let's just say 200,000 people all huddled together learning AI on a Friday. Like, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
like the demand is out there. Like people want this stuff, but they don't know who to trust, who to turn to, how to get this knowledge, like where to start. And so it really raised the bar for me. Like, dude, I need to work harder. Like I'm not reaching as many people like as I thought I could. Like nothing is saturated, like not even close. That's number one. Number two, for me, it changed the definition of what a beginner is. Like literally before my speech, I was being told, don't say things like take a screenshot because there are people who don't know how to take a screenshot or like take a screenshot and drop it into chat gpt. Like if you grew up around computers, that's like obvious to you, but there's like a lot of people where that's not obvious technical knowledge. And so it totally changed the definition of beginner for me. Like
Mm,
there's another definition of beginner that I've been like neglecting. I just assume that people have this. When I say, hey, take a screenshot of this prompt, drop it into chat, like that already assumes you know how to do that on your phone.
right.
And so it's definitely reframed beginner. And now I'm making a much more conscious effort in my YouTube and my newsletter to have like very beginner friendly. And then here's the advanced section over here if you want to just skip that part.
Right. That's such a good point. And it kind of goes back to a little bit of what you were talking about, like when you were in Silicon Valley, being in that kind of bubble and then getting
Yeah.
out of it. I mean, we're still so early to AI and we can kind of get in our own sort of bubble of what we know and the people around us know. But there's so many people who, like you said, don't even know how to take a screenshot or what ChatGPT necessarily is or does. So
Hmm.
that's a very good point.
Yeah, yeah, totally reframe that. And overall, it was an amazing experience. Like, I definitely wouldn't take it back. But at the same time, like, because I'm doubling down on Bloatato for 2026, I've already sworn off all in-person events, just because like they do tire me. Like, I'm very introverted, so I just
Mm.
get like extremely tired when I interact with people in real life. But yeah, again, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was definitely a huge learning and personal development experience, even for me. So.
That's so cool. What's on the horizon for Bloatato in 2026 and Sabrina Romanov's personal brand as a whole? What's your goals?
Oh, so I would love to hit like 500,000 newsletter or YouTube. Like I'll take either. Like YouTube is really hard to crack just because
Yeah.
I really don't want to give in to the whole production quality thing. Like I don't have an editor for my YouTube videos, which it's crazy, but like I don't want to go that route of like relying on production quality. But I would love to have 500,000 subs on my newsletter or YouTube. For Bloatato, like a big thing for me is making it easier for normal people to use. Like this again, recurring theme here, but like I built Bloatato for myself and like an intermediate level content creator. So if you're already used to making content, you hop in there and you're like, oh yeah, I get it. Like
Yeah.
sources, and like boom, and like you schedule boom. Okay, but like there's a whole massive segment of users who try it for the first time and they don't know what's going on. They're like, what's a
Right.
source? Like, what do you mean by remix? Like, how do I like they will open my support chat and like assume it's the AI writing assistant. And they're like, can you make my post this? And my support bot is like, I'm a support bot. Like I can't like
Yeah.
the writing assistant is over in that box. And so like one of my big efforts right now is just prototyping a new onboarding flow that just helps a lot of like non-technical folks or
Mm.
beginner level creators or beginner level businesses for social media just get to the light bulb moment without being like overwhelmed in the onboarding process. I feel like my product's like too technical for that audience right now, and I'd really like to simplify it. I think all the pieces are there. It's just like I hop in there and like I already know what to do, so I take it for granted. But I think there's a big opportunity if I would just make it like easier for people to get up to speed using it.
Do you think you'll ever run something like a paid ad for, say, Bloatato or no?
I've thought about it, and I actually talked to one of the big TikTokers for paid ads, and I also talked to another one who has trained a lot of Facebook ad agencies. And like, it does seem like it's hard for SaaS apps to run ads successfully. Like you need like the cost of acquiring that customer through an ad, you'll get paid back over several months, which I don't love because I'm bootstrapped. But I've been thinking about running ads for my newsletter because it's
Mm.
like what if I just like you get a free 5-day email course, right? And that's a
Yeah.
Facebook ad. And like that would drive people to my newsletter, they'd get a ton of value from it. That would hopefully drive them to my YouTube as well. Like that one seems a lot simpler to get right um, than a product one. But I'm open to it. Like, even though I do all of this social organic stuff, like, I'm not opposed to paid marketing. I've just haven't figured out paid marketing. So like
Right.
every paid marketing initiative I've tried has just been like burned money in flames. So like I'm open to it. I just like haven't figured out how to make it work. So
Looking back on 2025, is there anything you're gonna switch up marketing wise for Bloatato, or do you just see it as like as my personal brand grows, so will Bloatato?
yeah, I think like definitely the latter as my personal brand grows. I also think even though I spend most of my time on Blotato, I always prioritize my AI education first. So like, it's not I don't want to just like spam my followers with Blotato content. Like a lot of them don't need content creation. Like that's just not what they're into. Um, what else for marketing? So I think by making the onboarding and certain things in the app easier, I want to do more affiliate marketing for tutorials that are non-technical. So you've probably seen like lots of N8N tutorials using the Blotato API, but you probably haven't seen many Blotato tutorials just using the website. Um, and so I want to make the experience just easier and also shinier, like, oh, that looks cool, so that it'll demo well when I sponsor like YouTube videos like showcasing how to use Blotato.
That's super cool. What's your kind of outlook on AI, say for the next 5, 10 years? Like I said, we're super early to this. What's your kind of outlook as a technical background in AI, built an AI startup? What's kind of your outlook?
Honestly, there's so much that is now possible that just wasn't even possible 10 years ago. I remember, so it's 2025. Yeah, like 10 years ago, people thought we were also super early to AI. I personally thought I was late because I had an investor advisor who was CEO of an AI company in the 80s. So like
Wow.
I thought I was late to AI, but clearly was not late. There's so many levels to this. I don't know like which way you want to take it. Like societally, I think there will be a backlash against all of this AI stuff, how quickly it's moving, how there's no regulation at all, and there doesn't seem to be enough weight placed on things like regulating deepfakes. So just as an example, like on TikTok, like all of these scam fake accounts that are trying to scam my
Yeah.
my audience, and like people will send me deepfake images, videos, and sound recordings of me, but like I'm trying to scam them to like send them crypto for a trading app that I'm building, and it's all deepfake content. And so like it's really really concerning, but there isn't much regulation around that. Watermarking, like AI generated content, I'm a proponent for that. So I do think societally there will actually be a very large backlash against AI. It's just moving so fast and in
Yeah.
a completely unregulated way, and it's like there's like four guys at the top who are making all of the decisions for the entire industry, and like nobody elected them, by the way. So it's just like it's just like, can we
Yeah.
like take a step back at some point and put reasonable safeguards or guardrails around innovation? For example, like having legislation or stricter requirements when you're developing AI applications. If you're applying AI to a sensitive use case like financial data or healthcare data, like there should probably be more constraints around that. And so, yeah, I kind of expect a backlash.
I would
But at the
agree.
same time, like there's been so much progress, and like what's capable today is absolutely mind blowing if you've been in technology 10 years ago. And so, like, if all innovation stopped right now, we would still have 10 years of people figuring this stuff out. Like, oh,
Yeah.
like, can we
Yeah,
take
literally.
technology right now and how do we like deploy it? Like, having worked at a big company with thousands of employees, it takes a long time and a lot of like teamwork, cross department bureaucracy to like take a transformational technology and like upskill everybody and roll it out across thousands of people. Like literally it takes years. And so there's been so much innovation. I just think like it's really tough to keep up and like figure out like how to apply this stuff. And so it honestly might be nice if we got like a little break and we're like, oh, let's figure this stuff out. So
When it comes to like the regulations and guardrails, do you think we're almost a little bit too far and pushing the envelope too far to go back and fix some of those things that these companies have overlooked for say?
I don't think it's too late. No, even like if you look at copyright stuff, like the argument against it is like it will, impede innovation. But like I don't. At the end of the day, like I'm a big fan of compensating and also getting consent from the people that you are training all of this data
Mm,
from. I don't think that that's crazy or far fetched. Would it be a bit more expensive for the big tech companies to do it? Yeah. They also have billions and billions and billions in cash lying around. So,
yeah,
like, could it be feasibly done? And also, I think you're going to see a trend over the next I think it's starting now, but two trends, like one towards smaller models that are actually like fine tuned for specific tasks, because you don't need like ChatGPT 5.2 for like really specific tasks that you want AI to do. And then number two, like local and private models, because people are increasingly concerned about privacy and stuff. But oh, what? Oh yeah, you could put it there. Oh, sorry, my cousin just came
there you
back.
go.
No, that's okay. I'm just on a podcast. Yeah, no. But no, I don't think it's too late at all. I just think, it is the more expensive decision financially. But again, I think we're going to see a lot of that societal pushback, especially
Yeah,
when you have like all of these artists kind of banding together, and being like, hey, what is going on here? If you're going to use our data, we should be compensated in some way or participate in the upside in some way.
I 100% agree. Yeah, I think there'll be backlash. You can't, for say, keep pushing this down the road without any guidelines. People are going to get tired of it. Uh, yeah,
I also
I
think
agree.
the other thing is like this is why I don't do a ton of AI education for enterprises because I don't see how that trickles down to employees. Like that the big AI company is like adopting this stuff, becoming more efficient, and then what? Question mark. Like how do you benefit as an individual employee? Are you working
Right.
fewer hours? No. Do you get a pay raise because you helped figure this stuff out? No. And so I'm much more passionate personally about like how to use AI as a solopreneur or a small business or a tiny team so that you don't have to be stuck in that corporate rat race where you're not in control at all. And so like, that's why I'm trying to lead by example, kind of like, hey, I'm using AI. I'm able to build my own business with it as a solopreneur, and it's given me time, money, flexibility. Like even if I hadn't sold my previous company, like my current company would be giving me time, money, flexibility. And so that's kind of the example I want to set for people because I just personally don't see how big companies adopting AI, how are you going to give it back to your
Right.
to your employees? So I don't see that happening at the moment.
How would somebody go about creating? I think you mentioned a local model. How do you go about doing that?
So there are actually tutorials to do that. I don't know if you've on my to-do list, Andre Karpathy has a tutorial. It's like train your own chat GPT, like your very own, and it's private and it's all yours. So like there is actually interest in that and it's
Mm,
happening. There are now research papers coming out that are saying like smaller but domain specific models outperform like the really, really big ones when you have really
wow.
specialized tasks. And so, that I hope, I just hope a lot of that research continues so that we have more options out there, so that there are more open source options, more local options, more private options. So,
Yeah, I think it's definitely overlooked. I have a friend named Preston. He's big into the local models. I've never really figured out how to say create one, but it's something I should definitely look into, I guess.
yeah, and you can set it like you don't have to create. You can just like download an open source one and then use something like Olama or LM Studio or anything LLM, and it'll just especially if you have a Mac, like they just work really well on a Mac. And it's just like kind of like your local version of ChatGPT, just running on your computer, not sending any of your information to cloud. And so it's fun, and I'm seeing a lot of kind of burgeoning interest in that area. So.
That's super cool. What are some of the your favorite AI tools and products, your tech stack per se?
Definitely Claude Code, I feel is very underrated, even for non-technical tasks. So I've been thinking about spinning up a YouTube tutorial, like Claude Code for non-technical
Please
beginners.
do.
Yeah, it's it's honestly really underrated, but I guess it's kind of intimidating because you have to like use a command line to install it, and then people usually show it in the context of a code editor, and then that looks scary. But like that code editor could be your help documentation for your product. Like I use Claude Code to update help docs. Let's say I make a change Yeah, actually, I made some big changes related to like you no longer have to upload media to the API. I'm just like, Claude, find all the places where I mentioned that and like
Mm,
update them. And it's amazing.
that's so cool.
So yeah, Claude Code, super, super underrated. That's probably my favorite one.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Diona. I'm not sure if you've seen her. She's a big
Yeah, yeah.
advocate for Claude Code. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but I'm not too much of a technical person. So please drop that tutorial. I would love to
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
it.
It's really amazing. Like I was looking at a LinkedIn thread last night that was basically from a senior engineering person, and he was like, "Who actually uses ChatGPT anymore?" If you talk to a lot of technical folks, it's almost always
Oh,
Claude Code,
yeah.
Claude Code, Claude Code, and then the way we're using it is expanding. What I mean by that is like you may have started with Claude Code for coding, that makes sense, but now you're realizing it can write blog posts, it can update documentation, it could build little internal tools. Like I was going to build a little internal tool just to make like a bunch of YouTube thumbnails quickly. You know what I mean? The other thing I've observed personally is like I have much more fun using Claude Code than most workflow automation builders, like the drag and drop ones. Like those are nice for the orchestration layer. Like you get all the logs, you can see what happened, but the actual act of like dragging stuff and debugging stuff is such a
Mm.
nightmare. And it's just like so much more fun to talk to Claude and be like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. So,
Do you find that flows over into like their LLM, say Sonnet? Are you using Claude's LLM more than something like a ChatGPT or no?
so in Claude Code, you can choose which model to use. So I'm usually using Opus, unless I run out of the credits for that, then I'll use Sonnet. So,
Okay. Now, let's get into a little bit more fun questions. We've
yeah.
dived deep into the technical, but I see you have a lot of hobbies. Me and my dad were watching you shred the guitar the other night because he loves guitar, so it's super cool. But
Oh, dude,
what
we're
are
playing today. Yeah.
we'll have to watch. But what are some of your favorite hobbies and things to do when you wind down?
So I'm pretty big into outdoor stuff. So it's just we just haven't gotten much snow, but normally I'd be like skiing right now. We just got a pool. I suck at swimming, but I'm in that like happy phase where I'm swimming so badly. It's such a great workout after 15 minutes. Like I'm just so inefficient. So it's like, wow, that was great. Hiking, really big into. I learned dirt biking this year and fell in love
That's
with
so
it,
cool.
which was a surprise. I did not expect to like it as much because it's like pretty heavy. So I was like kind of concerned. But dirt biking, super, super fun. Skiing, yeah. And then, yeah, guitar. So I used to play guitar like hours and hours a day as a teenager. There was some point I really wanted to just be a rock star and not go to college at all. So my parents were not happy about that.
Yeah.
but, but yeah, I recently picked it up again. Actually, after going to another Tony and Dean event, it was the $250,000 mastermind. So I was the
Mm.
speaker there for AI, and they had live music, and I was like, "What? This is so amazing! Live music! I haven't listened to live music in a long time," and that inspired me to pick guitar back up again. And honestly, like I've been practicing. Like like I know I should practice more, but it for me, it's like I'm glad I was a creator first because now I feel no shame just posting the
Yeah.
videos. When I was a kid, I would have never done that. I would have been way too insecure, like, oh, it doesn't sound perfect yet, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I am thankful. So yeah, we're playing later today actually. So my live starts in 30 minutes, and then we're gonna vibe code a little bit, and then at the end, I was gonna play a wolf and man, and my husband's gonna sing. So
That's so cool. Hey, maybe you could start playing guitar at your shows or something. Do live music before you speak. That'd be so sick.
dude, yeah, that would possibly convince me to attend a live event.
That'd be
Like a
so
hundred
cool.
thousand people have to listen to me play guitar first.
And then you could speak. That'd be so awesome. Well, to end this off, what would be one piece of advice over the years that you've learned as a founder, creator, entrepreneur for, say, the 18-year-old who's trying to navigate AI in this crazy world right
Mm,
now?
yeah, I think there's so much, and I've been there 18. Like all you want is to succeed. Like there's just like I just want this now. And on one hand it's great. Like that is like you have the energy to do that. Dude, I'm in bed by like 9. I don't I don't have that kind of energy anymore. On the other hand, though, like you don't want the pressure you put on yourself, the impatience to stifle your curiosity.
Hmm.
You especially like exploring AI. So many people are like, "How do I do that? Use this to make money like right now?" And I'm like, "Whoa, let's just take a step back, like
Yeah.
try some of these prompts, have fun with it, like see where that takes you. Just like breathe a little bit and like figure out what your curiosity leads you to. For some people, that might be vibe coding. For other people, it might be AI education and being an influencer. For other people, it might be building automations and not being the face at all, just being the one building this stuff behind the scenes. And like the thing is, all of these routes can make a lot of money, like lots and lots and lots of money. So it's not about like the correct one. It's the correct one for you. And I see a lot of people going down like the wrong one because they're just like consuming this content that tells them,
Hmm.
oh, you should absolutely do this. But a lot of that content like doesn't qualify you very well. Like I would love to see more AI education content that's like, this is for you. This you should build an AI automation agency if you fit the following criteria. And if you don't, like you probably won't enjoy it and won't
Yeah.
succeed. Like I would like more content to be transparent like that. Just because I'm seeing so many people like, oh, you know, there is a ton of opportunity. They want to be involved in the gold rush, but then they are so focused on making money that they don't listen to the things they're just like naturally curious and attracted to. For my personal example in Silicon Valley, like I said, being a creator, an influencer like this was not something that was valuable. Like it wasn't a
Hmm.
positive thing. It's not it's even not a compliment. Like
Hmm.
so like for me, I never got to pursue that curiosity that like I knew I was innately like a good teacher. I like this. I like translating difficult concepts into stuff that's easy to understand, and I like helping people hit that light bulb moment. But like I felt like I never gave myself the permission to follow that curiosity, even though I've had it for a very long time.
Hmm.
But because it wasn't valued in the environment I was in, which is like tech and Silicon Valley, I just kind of like stifled it, just
Right.
like extinguished it. Like this is distracting. But it was actually just like my inner voice and curiosity telling me like, hey, go look at this thing over
Yeah.
here. You might like it, you know? So that would be my advice for anyone starting today. There is a ton of opportunity, but like the best way to capitalize all that is just to like truly follow your curiosity and not be so like impatient and harsh with yourself.
That's an amazing piece of advice. I'm gonna listen to that back.
Well,
Well,
you're a
thank you
crazy
so
guy.
much. Thank you so much for coming on, Sabrina. This has been an
Yeah.
awesome conversation. I appreciate you making time to talk with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.